Welcome everyone, today we have a special Diablo 4 guide. Now in this video, I'm very excited to show and also go through a very special mechanics with the game that has been discovered with one of the viewers. And also, I want to show you guys a very amazing Excel calculator and also planner for Diablo 4, which you can be picking any of the spells for the substats and also for the special effects. And also this goes into even more advanced forms, going into details for planning for your build, and also see the roles and also potential abilities and also skills for each of the gears. So this video will be broken down into two parts. The first part will have a look at the hidden mechanics that was shared by what did you over here, and we'll look into this into more details. The second part of the video will look at the application of what he has shared with the new amazing Excel shared by one of the viewers, and how do we combine those two into rolling for better gear stats, and also how do we get better gears with those two methods combined. Now, similar to all of our videos, if you guys want the notes, check the links below for the description. And if you guys do have more tips and also more tricks, make sure you message me in the comments or send me a direct message on Discord. And this has been really helpful to hear from you guys as well. Now, before we jump right into the guide, I also want to provide you guys with some of the early access time zones and also preload tips. In case you guys are wondering, yes, Diablo 4 will be coming very soon. So I do have a little countdown timer over here. This is not my countdown timer, this is from Diablo 4 GG. You can see that during the recording of this video, Diablo 4 will be coming in about 6 days. So very excited. So in case you guys are looking for a countdown timer, this one over here. Now there are also the preload times for Diablo 4, which is on the 30th of May. So make sure you guys preload the game and also come back frequently to see if there's additional update. And finally, before the game starts, make sure you guys restart the Battle.net after the countdown ends, which is the countdown I was talking about over here. Now coming over to our first part of the video. So this particular guide was shared by Uduju over here, and this is the video he actually talked about it. I do recommend have a look at this one because he explains things into more details. So here we're going to have a summary. So over here, we'll go through a summary of what he has shared. So some of my viewers were saying, hey Matt, you have to look at this video, there's some really good stuff over here. And I decided to have a look at this one. And stay tuned, on the second part, we'll look at how to apply this one using the Excels we have and using more probabilities. So what our friend Uduju has shared is that there is actually a threshold for certain item levels. Notice that there's item levels, so those are the screenshots from the video. You can see that there's certain item levels and of the gear. And depending on the levels you get them, I think before level 25, we get about level 300, 340. But once you get the gear over 340, you can start to roll certain skill points. So notice that before level 340, you can only get +1 to the skill rank for the core spells on the gloves. But once we have upgraded this gear at the blacksmith at level 2, what you're going to see is you start to unlock certain gear skill ranks, which is going to be +2. And this is very important because in the video, our friend also discussed it about this, because if you know the concepts over here, and if you upgrade your gear through a threshold, let's say if your gear started with 330, and if you upgrade this one to 340, all of a sudden you can be rerolling your affix and giving yourself a boost of power. Notice that the attack speed over here is 1.6 to 3.3. Here you will be rolling from 2.4 to 5.4, which can give you a boost of power and also damage with affix. Now of course guys, the list of the item powers over here, the first few are not that important, because as you play the game, likely you're gonna upgrade gears very fast. You don't have to worry about upgrading too early in the early game. Maybe after 460, maybe after 625, those would be more key and also more essential marks. So to summarize this concept, what you do is you can be upgrading gears at the blacksmith and also the jeweler. Each time you upgrade those gears, notice that this is +5. And when it goes to +10, this means he has upgraded gear 2 times. You can upgrade gear multiple times. Each time this will give a gear item power +5. And if you happen to be very close to the item power level that is close by to the threshold, and if you get onto the threshold, you can have a reroll of your stats. Now do keep in mind, you can be rolling from skill +1 to +2, and also higher stats over here. But there's also a chance you roll into a lower stat. So you can see here he had 2.8 attack speed, and after rolling he's got 2.4 attack speed. So you can also roll the minimum roll over here, so be aware of this. Now of course guys, knowing this concept is really good, especially for the later stage of game, 460, 625 and get over to 725. But the next part, let's have a look, how can we take this one step further? So we'll be having a look at one of the amazing Excels crafted by one of the viewers, Half Mine, and it's really amazing. So I really want to share with you guys how to use this one. Now coming over to this wonderful Excel made by our viewer Halfmind. So similar to the previous Excels, if you guys want to make use of this one, make sure you guys come over to Files and then make a copy. So come over to Files, make a copy, and then you should have this Excel. Now I do believe he has some scripts to make it automatic. I'm not an expert on Excel, but usually I just make a copy. So if you guys do know about the scripts, make sure you double check this one as you go. So before jumping over to the Excel, let me go through with you guys a brief summary of how this Excel can work. There's going to be multiple pages of the Excel, including different tabs and also different things that can be useful. So one of the ways you can use Excel is, on the first tab you're going to see, he can allow you to select for different stats which will be available on different gears. And this allows you to find certain skills, certain abilities, and also certain damage boosts. On the other pages, which is a work in progress, he has planned the best in slot gear levels and also the gears at certain level and also the affix. This can allow you to plan for your gears for each of your pieces and what are the affix you can roll, and also plan to see what of the affix you can reroll. Now finally, there's also individual tabs which are over here, which shows you what are the gear pieces that can roll into what affix, which can be very randomful, and we can even build onto this. So here you can see the boots also have inherent effects, which allows you to have evade charges, which allows you to have bonus movement speed, and even attack reduced cooldowns. So those can be very special for each of the gear pieces. Now there's also ways to make use of this Excel to go into even further, because we can be calculating the probabilities of rerolling into Enhancement or Enchantment at the Oculist, which will be the future of the Excels I want to build for you guys. Now if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates, and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4. So now that we had a look at summary, let's have a look at Excel. And a really big thank you for Halfmind for sharing this with me and also for sharing this with everyone. Now do keep in mind guys, this is a work in progress Excel. And most of the values that was used was during the open beta and also the server slam. But you can see he has done a lot of work. It's much more detailed than my Excel. It's very, very detailed, very, very important to see what you can get. So coming over to the first tab, and this tab what you're going to do is, you can see this is broken down into the desired armor substats, desired weapon substats, and also desired accessory substats. So those are the 3 selection drop downs you want to use. You can click the button over here and you can see all the drop downs that is available that you can select from. Or what you can do is, you can go skill. You can be typing for certain things like skill rank. Now for the armor pieces, what you want to do is the skill rank are categorized into tier 3, tier 2, tier 4. So those tiers are pretty much the categories of the skills on each of the trees. So now if we use a build calculator as an example over here, this is just a random build calculator I just opened up. So if I use this as an example over here, oh, they actually upgraded this one. So what you're going to see is, you're going to see that the tier 2 is the core section, tier 3 is usually the defense section, and so tier 4 is one of the sections for different classes. Now simply because different classes have different names, if you're going for a skill rank, if you start with T, notice this will be tier 3, tier 2. So each of the tiers will represent over here on this section of the tree. You don't really have tier 1, usually it starts with tier 2 on the gloves, and then it starts with tier 3 and also tier 4, and sometimes tier 5. So let's say if I wanted tier 2, which is a core spell plus skill rank on my items, and if you select this one, this will show you only gloves will have this one. But let's say if I'm going for a Thorns build, which I really like to have a look. So if I'm going for a Thorns build and I click Thorns, it can show you that you can only roll onto Thorns on the pants and also on the chest for the affix. And if you do on the details, you can come over to the next tab, you can see that you can roll onto Thorns onto the pants over here. So if I was trying to roll Thorns onto the gloves, if I was trying to roll Thorns onto the boots, that's not happening. And this is very important to know when you're rerolling for your stats. Now similarly, if we use the weapon drop down button over here, you can see that you can go for block chance, which only appears on the shield, or you can go for life on kill. Let's go for some normal ones. So let's go for a cost spell damage. You can see there's a variety of weapon that is available for many classes that have rolls on the core spell damage. But if we're going for damage over time, oh, it's the same one. Those are pretty common. Let's say if we're going for max life, you can only see that only shield as a weapon that can roll into max life. But if we go with life over here, so this is actually really helpful, right? So if I go for life over here, you can see that you can roll onto life, onto helmet, and also onto pants. Now finally, this is the similar method to use on the accessories. Let's say if I want critical damage. Let's go damage, not better though, critical damage. So if I go critical damage or critical chance, you can see that what are the things they can roll onto what. So let's say if I go damage. So there's going to be a flat damage increase. You can see that flat damage increase can be rolled onto amulets. And this is very important as you plan your gears. Now that we had a look at the first page, if we come over to the second page, which half mind is like, don't look guys, it's still work in progress. It's very humble. So here you can see he has listed different sap stats onto the helmet, onto the legendary chest, onto each of parts of the weapons. So here's setting the item level to 725. And here you can be planning for a lot of things for different, stats. Because it is a work in progress, I do advise that you use this one with caution, and he will be updating this one eventually after the launch of the game. But it's very helpful. Let's say if I'm going for strength, if I'm going for plus skill rank, let's say if I want plus skill rank to my, what is going to be a barbarian skill? Let's go rank, let's see, have a look. So if I go rank, you can see the list of all the barbarian spells. Let's say if you want to go with a kick barbarian, you can go with kick. And the next one, if I go for damage, let's see if there's any damage on the helmet. So if I type damage, you can have damage while berserking. Oh, I didn't know that. And finally, let's go with bonus life. So if I click this can be some of the really good rolls for the helmet if I'm going for a kick barbarian that goes with berserk. So this really has additional flexibilities, and it's amazingly automatic. And if you guys want, you can play around with this for your final build or even for your beginning build for level 50, 70 and also 100. Now as we move over to the next tab, you can see armor, weapon and also accessories. Those are very important information that is used to calculate the previous information. But this also gives you the raw data, which is more summarized into forms that can be more informative. So if you have a look at the boots, you can see that the boots can inherit different things, like attack, reduce cooldowns, and also maximum charges, and also evade movement speed. So some items will have this, other items will not have this. So if you have a look at the weapon, you can see different weapon types can inherit different stats. And this can be very good. If you're going for the daggers, there's going to be close enemy damage. And if you're going for the bow, there's going to be distant damage. So this is actually really interesting if you go into this into more details. Now, one of the example I showed with you guys is that I took a screenshot of the boots over here. So here we start with the boots, right? Notice that the boots also have movement speed. So usually with the mobility class or most of the classes, you do want to roll onto movement speed onto your boots. And here, knowing that there's 3 inherent sub-spells, you can be going with additional evade charges, which can also trigger certain abilities and also skill trees. I remember there's a skill passive that if Rogue evades with Flurry, you can also stun enemies for 2 seconds. Now, because there's so many skills to go through and talk about, I'll have the Excel available to you guys and you guys can play around it. And a big thank you for HalfMind for sharing this to us. And if he has time to update it, we'll have this available for you guys at the launch of the game. Now coming over to my final part of the video. I know the video is actually a little longer than I thought. So here we can see all the stats and that's available, right? So what I want to do is I want to be rolling on certain items, and you can see certain items. Well, come back over here. You can see there's certain items like the pens that can roll for tier 3 and also tier 4 spells, and this can be very interesting. So here what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about the enchantment availability at the Oculist. So at the Oculist, you can be enchanting your gears, and each time you reroll the gears, one of the affix will be replaced with 3 availabilities, and you can pick from those. Now over here, I'll provide you guys with a little teaser. I want to work something with HalfMind, and this is a planned in progress, right? So it's not ready yet. So what I want to show you guys is, you can see there's actually 15 substats or 15 affix over here for the legendary on the boots that is available. So what I want to do is, I want to assume that even if we have 4 affixes on the boots, that we did not get the movement speed. And here we want to reroll into movement speed. And usually if you think about this is 1 in 12 chance, right? Because this is the leftover 12 that you want to be rolling. But because there are 3 possibilities over here, I'm thinking that the probability could be this calculation over here, which means you have a 25% chance of rolling your affix into movement speed if you do not have them at the start of your 4 affix. Now what I want to do for you guys is, I want to do an automatic calculator for any of the stats for any of the pieces using this logic and also using this concept. So this way you can be seeing what is the chance of you getting a successful reroll onto your FXs when you spend your gold at the Oculus. Because trust me guys, the Oculus is so expensive. I was gambling my gold away in the open beta and also in the server slam, and I was impulse clicking. I was like 50,000, 100,000, there we go, let's see how lucky I am. But you want to know the rates, you want to know the chance of getting what you want. And the future videos I work on the Excel with HalfMind. I will make a probability guide for the rerolling of the gears. Now because the video is actually a little longer than I thought, so let's have a summary. So from the first part of the guide, we can see that we want to get the item level over the threshold, and we can see the range of threshold. It is ideal to have item that is within 5 to 15 item level within the threshold, so we can be upgrading this one time up to 3 times. Now if we got the right affix, we can just upgrade it. But if we do not have the right affix, we can then use Excel to see what are the affix you can roll onto what gears. And then you can come back over here, and if you do roll onto the right gears, then you can come back to upgrade them to have even more powers. And finally guys, you can always use Excel too to be planning for your rerolls, to be planning for your gears, and also to be planning for your late game, which is going to be amazing. Now before you finish guys, as a big warning, you do not want to waste too much gold and also materials in the early stage of the upgrade and also in the rerolls. So this is why I want to show you guys the probability of you getting what you want, and also give you more information on what you can get. And once you can see that there's so many crazy effects that you can roll onto the pens, you might be less reluctant to be spending your 50 or even 100,000 gold into one reroll, because you might not get what you wanted. So yes guys, make sure you subscribe for the future of the Excel guide, which will have a gambling prevention. Because I do feel like the whole rerolling system feels like gambling, and you're wasting so much gold that you have been farming for ages, and if you just click away, it can be terrible. So stay tuned guys, and we'll be making more Excels and also more guides for you guys for Diablo 4. Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.